Hey there, everybody. New studio, new intro. I'm just here to remind you guys before you listen to today's episode, make sure you follow the show and subscribe wherever you listen. If you watch the show on YouTube, make sure you subscribe there, you comment, you like, and you share. Also, follow my social media, all of it, both Instagrams, my Twitter, follow it all. Your life is to be consumed by my life. Tell everybody that you know about me. Start conversations with the fact that the Smoking Simian is your favorite podcast. Bombard everyone that you know and love with the Smoking Simian. Send them links day in and day out of my show, of the episodes, of my posts. Get thrown out of your house because the only thing that you care about is the Smoking Simian. Do it. Enjoy today's episode. Bye-bye.
Hello, Rafael.
Oh, what's up, Antonio?
We don't turn to the camera here. We're talking to each other.
Oops, can't break the fourth wall.
That's right. Thank you for coming to
course.
the people they know, the people who listen to the show, which is nobody. They know that we're in Maine because I've been talking about it nonstop on the show.
Good.
And I've been saying that you're going to come and we were going to do at least one podcast, which I think we're going to stick to because putting this setup together was a pain. We figured it out. Like, this isn't bad.
I know.
But to knock this down and then come back and do it again.
If people could see the work that we did to build this thing, with the space that we have, like this,
Right.
This was meant for one person to relax and to be outside most of the time. People
Right.
did not expect anybody to make a podcast in this little Airbnb, but we put it in Antonio's room.
To set the mood. We're in a bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fucking hutch behind me that I tried to get out of the shop, but it's there.
We're gonna dim the lights in a bit. It's gonna be real beautiful.
Yeah. Because everywhere else out there was just... We could have had an air conditioner over here, which would have looked stupid.
Oh, I know, that dirty air conditioner.
It's just...
It just looks ugly.
Yeah. I do think about that.
What?
I was telling you, when I like have a new setup for the show, I always want to make sure that it looks good and it's like conducive to a good convo.
Yeah, I don't have a good... Yeah, like, it's supposed to make sense to kind of generally what you want to talk about. Like, for me, I don't want to have my kitchen, like, showing in the background, which is kind of where I do my podcast.
Yeah.
Where I used to. I haven't done an episode in a long time. But when I did do it, you could see the kitchen in the back, the refrigerator, the sink, and everything. And I didn't want that. It didn't make sense. It's an MMA podcast. Like, if it was a cooking channel, that's perfect.
Right.
Right. Or do-yourself home cooking. But it wasn't. So instead, what I did was I had two cameras, and they were focused on each fighter. I mean, the guest and the host.
Right.
They're, that way, you only saw, like, the corner, and you couldn't tell exactly where we were. Or put a black drape over the...
That's a good idea, too.
But
I've thought of doing like black curtains where I live and switching the side that I do the podcast on because the side that I'm on is against a wall, but I can't show my Simian poster because the light glares off because the wall across from me is all windows. And if I went on the side with all windows, I would look dim, or I would look like the lighting would look dim behind me, you know?
right.
So I was thinking about blacking them out, but I was like, fuck it, I'm only going to be there for a year or whatever the fuck, so.
You were going to look like a silhouette?
Yeah, if you, like, when I've done the show with guests in person, which I don't do very often anymore, when I've done it in the news spot, the person that sits across from me on my futon tends to look a little dim looking, like the light. It's just like when you take pictures. Like, you don't want the light to be behind the person, you know?
I think there's stuff for it. I think there's stuff you can buy so that you can prevent such a glare.
Yeah.
So that, like, the light reflects off of that. So, whatever you can buy for it, and it just, like, softens it. A diffuser or something.
Right. Another thing I don't like is the lighting in my apartment. Like, there's the recessed lighting against the wall, and or on the ceiling, and where I'm sitting, it just like beams onto my fucking face, and the light looks real weird. Like, this lighting actually isn't terrible. It's really not too bad. I thought it was going to be a little yellower, but it's not bad.
Yeah, no, this is kind of like a yellow light
Yeah.
as well. No, I like it. It's not too strong. I like those lights that you can dim. Those are real fancy. But here
That's
we're
what I
just
used to
gonna
have
do
in
it.
my old apartment. The old
Yeah.
apartment was money. That setup was
Yeah.
perfect.
That was a really nice. In the basement?
No, God, no, not that one.
I'm like, damn, that place was fancy as hell.
But even then, even when I first was doing it in the basement, I was like, I want this to be set up a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a tiny table. But when the peak of the studios I've had was my last one, the one before the one I have
okay.
now. You know.
I never went to that one.
Yeah, you did. Did an episode in there. Remember, it was
yeah,
on Academy
yeah.
Ave when I lived on Academy Ave.
Yeah.
On the second floor.
Was it a big table? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was like a big black table. I had all four arms. I had all four mics set up.
Yep.
This thing was in the middle of the table. I had another like TV tray next to me so I could put my laptop over there. You couldn't see it. It was perfect. And I was sitting. I had computer chairs. It was nice. Now I sit on a couch. I don't like doing it on the couch. It's weird.
Yeah, it has a interesting look to it though.
Yeah, I guess. And, the angle's weird. But ultimately, as long as you're getting something out there,
What's your ideal one? Like, let's say someone gave you a budget and someone sponsored you. Like, what are you gonna want your stuff to look like?
Well, I'd want I'd want a studio.
Yeah.
A table would be ideal. The way I do the show now, though, it would be more like a desk, like a big desk where I sit at and my co-host. I'd love a co-host next to me. Jesus.
Ooh.
I don't know if you guys can hear, but there's severe thunderstorms going
Beautiful.
on.
I love the sound.
Oh, it is beautiful. But that's why we're doing this now.
Nice. Yeah, we're cozied up right now and letting that rain pass.
Yeah, so we're aiming for a nice long one for you guys today.
Ooh.
Episode, that is.
What episode would this be? What number?
227.
227.
Rocking and rolling, brother.
Wow. On your 1000th episode, you're going to have to do something real special. Or your 500.
Hopefully at 1,000 there's something
4
good.
guests.
Hopefully at 1,000 there's something. I'm in a good place.
Yeah, I know, right? I think so.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the best podcasts, not all of them, but a lot of them are fucking in the thousands. In terms of episodes.
True.
I
True.
mean, there's some that if you're famous already and you start a podcast, like Tim Dillon, his podcast is only at, I think, 300 episodes. But it's
Okay.
the biggest podcast on Patreon because he's a big comic already,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a difference, though, with him. And, I bet he didn't start from square one with his podcast. He first became a comic,
Yeah.
got a little popular, then started a podcast.
But yeah, a little more like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he did like YouTube videos and shit, like skits to get people on board.
Tim Dillon.
Yeah,
I gotta
he's
look
great.
him up.
He has a new special out on
Yes.
Netflix.
Let me at least see what he looks like.
I saw him live. He's fucking
Ooh.
insanely hilarious.
I love that. He had a good set list of jokes.
Oh man,
okay.
he's been on Joe Rogan a bunch of times.
Has he?
Yeah,
What does he talk about? His comedy?
on Joe Rogan, they talk about like conspiracies and shit usually, but he's like a well-versed, smart guy, Tim Dillon. But the
Yeah.
best thing about his special is that it's on Netflix, and they let him say pretty much anything. They didn't give him any notes. They didn't say take this out. He said the F word for homosexuals, but he's gay, so
Oh, okay.
he can say that. But he also said the D word for lesbians.
Okay.
For homosexual women. And that one's a little more, people are like, oh, you can't do that. But he's like, I'm a gay F word, so I can call them desert D words. Because he had this whole story about how he rented an Airbnb out in the desert, and they fined him a bunch of money for nothing that bad. But it's just nice that Netflix is kind of like smartening up
How so?
with like comics. Well, I mean, it started with Chappelle, right? They're not budging on Chappelle. They're gonna let him do whatever the fuck he wants because he's arguably the greatest comic walking. But I mean, with him being at the top, it kind of sets a precedent for other comics to be able to do that other shit. You know, to be able to still be offensive, but in a funny way. You know, like still not be afraid to make certain jokes.
Where there's some people that just haven't earned that yet. Like your local comics can't go to those extremes.
No. That's I mean, you could do whatever you want. You know, I mean, if you're a little cleaner, a little more family friendly, you'll probably see a little bit more. You have a wider range of success, I guess, because you could do like Hollywood movies and TV shows and whatever else.
Yeah.
But in terms of starting out, or just how many different ways you can do comedy, it's just good to know that the woke people, the people who get upset about, you know, the people who get offended for sport, put it that way. There's a lot of people nowadays who do that.
Get offended for sport?
Yeah, like it's almost like,
yeah.
I'm offended. I'm going to get behind this idea, or I'm going to get behind this movement, and I'm going to shit on every, you know, it's like, it's weird. But it's nice that Netflix isn't like censoring that type of shit.
I know. Yeah.
Like it's a move in the right direction.
I feel like with comedy that Netflix is ahead of the game.
Yeah, they've been.
What about Comedy Central? I first found out, obviously, with Dave Chappelle on Comedy Central. Actually, a lot of comedy, I was first figuring it out. The same way I found out music through MTV, I found out about comedy through Comedy Central. What do you think about them? Like, how are they doing it with their comedy? I don't know if you even have cable, but...
No, I know that they've kind of lost some of their steam as being the comedy, like...
Central.
Exactly, yeah, being the comedy, like... Because back in the day, you probably remember, there used to be Comedy Central specials all the time. Those, like, 30-minute...
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
All the time.
And I would watch that shit always.
So many.
And that, back in the day, was the way to kind of... If you got a Comedy Central special, it's like, that's a big step, you know? And now, I guess that kind of went away because a lot of the networks, they have sponsors. They have advertisers. So if you got a comedian that's making fun of Oreos or something, giving Oreos a bad name, talking about how fat parents have fat kids who they feed Oreos to until they die and they lose their feet to diabetes too. If you have jokes like that, the Comedy Central might be like, Oreos,
damn.
or Nabisco is one of our advertisers, you know?
So it's become corporate.
Yeah,
Comedy.
but it's also with everything nowadays. It's also become a little bit more decentralized. Like now, like we were saying before, it was Comedy Central special, big time, or you did like an HBO special, and that was big time, or you did like a late night spot on a.
Who did an HBO special?
Everybody, so many.
Dude, I'm sorry. I have this slab of.
Rip it off
gum.
and chew on it.
Oh.
It's gum, or is it?
It's gum.
On your foot.
It's gum and gravel and all the other stuff. I don't know how I got into
Oh no.
the sole of my foot, man.
That's Portland, Maine.
Oh, I'm trying to take this off. Yeah, it's not leaving a good impression.
No, we're not poor. This is Old Orchard Beach.
Yeah, sorry.
We're in Old Orchard
Sorry,
Beach.
I think highly of Portland, Maine.
A lady told me yesterday,
Orchard sucks.
our friend that we met at the club,
Yeah.
she said Old Orchard Beach is like the Connecticut of beaches.
What does that mean?
Because I was shitting on Connecticut with her. I'm like, Connecticut sucks.
Oh, really?
Because I was like, I moved to Connecticut, and she's like, she was so upset.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, so she said we're in the Connecticut of beaches, I guess.
The Connecticut of beaches. Damn.
Yeah.
This is so she's talking about Old Orchard, right?
Yeah.
That sucks. Did you feel that way when we went to the beach just now?
No, I thought the beach was nice.
See?
Beach over here is nice.
I don't know. You have to
Area's
check for yourself.
decent. I get why people come here. You know, it's a nice beach town. You got a pier.
So is this a popular spot for coming to a beach area
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
for Maine?
For Maine, yeah. Right. Because like I said, up north, hillbilly goat fuckers the whole way. Mountain people. That's
Really?
what it is, yeah.
That's crazy. Even though that there's areas that live near the water just like we do, but they don't have the same lifestyle.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is like to me like a little bit like a Newport.
Really? I think this is more like a...
When I went last time, it reminded me of it, but I could be wrong. Not completely. I'm
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
like the beach houses and stuff,
Right.
but not.
I think it's more like a bigger, more populated, which in turn makes it look a little shittier Narragansett. You know, because Narragansett's small. It's kind of like a little pristine beach town. Where here it's big, and there's a lot of people that live here. There's a lot more commerce. It's just bigger. So
Yeah.
you know, I say it looks shitty, but some of the places that we walk by, like the place we ate at this morning, they didn't even have a sign. I don't know if you noticed that, but they didn't even have a sign above the place.
Really?
Yeah, Palomas or whatever.
Yeah. How did you find out it was that restaurant?
What?
How did you find out it was Palomas?
Because online when I looked for breakfast, and they were like, "We got breakfast," but
That's
when we
crazy. Oh, when we arrived, because we had Googled it.
yeah, I was like, "All right, we're here. This is it."
Because they wanted Spanish food, right?
Well, they had one of those little chalkboards outside. It says, "We're open."
goodness gracious.
Palomas.
They didn't have their own sign on.
No sign. Yeah, and that whole strip. I mean,
What is that? That doesn't look new, anyways. Like,
a lot of the places just kind of look overworked. I think that's a good word.
what do you mean?
Like they look weathered. Like
The-
the outside of buildings, the outside of storefronts around here, they just look weathered. That doesn't mean that there's not a lot of things to do and people and whatever the fuck else. It's just like New York. Things in New York look dingy and like everything just looks dirty and fucking gross. But people like going there, you know.
They don't. They could care less.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy that nothing will drive New Yorkers out.
Right. Plus, you got to understand, most places, I've been not to a ton of places in the United States, but I've been to, a few different cities. And there's not a ton that take your breath away, realistically.
Like New York City.
Yeah, like there's a few real big cities, the ones that we've heard of. And I'm sure there's some nice small beach towns like this or small towns. And you got to do, some extensive traveling. But most places look to be in rough, dilapidated shape. Like have you been to other countries?
Only to Dominican Republic.
If you go to Europe, those they have big dirty cities too, but outside of that, there's so much beautiful scenery. The scenery's nice. The towns have a different feel. It's also because we're not used to it. But things are clean. Things aren't. It has a different. It doesn't look like it's been bombarded by tons and tons of people running through it.
Right.
Like Rome is a big dirty city. Naples, big dirty city. But when you get to the smaller towns, the smaller tourist spots, if you had the equivalent of an Old Orchard beach in Italy, that one would probably look nicer. Is the point I'm trying to make.
So, do you think that this isn't looking as nice as it could?
No, I mean I think it looks just about like it's my expectation.
Yeah.
I don't think
That's
it's.
true.
I didn't come here thinking it was going to be, the Amalfi Coast or the French Riviera or anything. I knew it'd be nice. We're right next to the beach. The beach is beautiful, and there's stuff to do. But
It is a nice view.
yeah, it's not the Hamptons.
Nah, it looks like people who either would love to spend all their time at the beach, and this is just casual beach people.
It's like chubby white families.
Yeah.
It's chubby
with
white
kids
families and
kids. It's very family oriented.
yeah,
So
old
young people,
retirees.
Yeah, but I don't really see too many old people walking around.
Yeah,
We see 30s and 40s. That's mostly what I see.
with kids.
This
Some of
isn't
them got kids.
this is definitely a certain demographic.
Right.
It has a certain demographic to it. I prefer more right now of a college age neighborhood.
Sure.
Something like maybe when you lived in Rhode Island, like the Brown area and stuff like that.
A little more hipster like. This isn't
No, I
hipster at
wouldn't
all
say
over
hipster.
here.
No, I don't like hips. I don't. When I go to Providence, it's kind of weird that I'm still not used to the way that people dress over there.
Right. It's trendy.
Yeah.
Artsy.
No, they dress. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hipsters still, even though it's not really a reference that's used anymore. That's
Right.
really how to explain it. It's almost like I'm expecting to see someone dressed like that, and before you know it, yep. Eventually, someone walking it's like in the fall you're gonna see that they're gonna be wearing those large sweaters and those
Right. Glasses.
jeans that don't exactly go all the way to the bottom with the boots.
Right.
It has just a certain look.
Yeah, they all got like leather satchels on,
Yeah.
walking around.
Yeah, the glasses. Yeah.
Yeah, the wire rim glasses.
And the hand knitted.
Earmuffs.
No, the hoodie or whatever the
Cap, snow cap.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, but it's like baggy off the back.
yeah.
You ever see that? It's like too big. They don't fold it up and it's just they hang it off the back
Yeah.
of the head. Yeah, I mean, that's like New York, though. A lot of trendy people in the East Village. New York's very artsy.
What's the longest time you've ever spent in New York?
At once, I think it was 2 days, Friday and Saturday. Yeah, at once. First time I ever went to New York was I was a kid, and I immediately was like mesmerized. And I haven't been able to shake that since.
There's something about it that still captures your attention.
Yeah, I mean, how can it not? Stop kicking the goddamn table.
Sorry.
People are listening. It's probably like punk, pink. What are you, punk? What about?
Then once they watch the video, oh.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the first time I went, my grandmother took me, who now is upset that I want to move there. It's like, it's your fault, lady. You're the one who took me there.
Yeah, if she could go back in time.
Yeah. But we went for a day, and we got to see the Rockettes. You know, the
cool.
ladies.
Yeah.
Radio City Music Hall. It was fucking Christmas time. It was nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was that show? I've wanted to go to those.
I mean, it was all right. I was a kid. It was just good to experience. They had like a 3D thing that you could put on, and shit flies around.
Aren't those ladies physically there?
Yeah, oh yeah. They had that too, but they had like a thing before that where they had like a big screen come down, and we had like 3D glasses and shit flies around.
Dope.
Yeah, I guess. It was cool. There's just, I mean, it's so many fucking people there. New York City is bananas.
Yeah. I mean, people will bump into you and they'll think nothing of it. Like, whereas here or somewhere smaller where there's not a lot of people, where if you bump into someone, you'll notice it. Like, you'll stop, maybe look at them and maybe, like, say something.
Yeah.
In there, you get bumped, it's like they don't budge because it must happen all the time.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that always catch my interest when I think about New York, is that when I went there like that, I notice it a lot. People just bump into each other all the time, and it's gonna happen. Like, you get like 7 people, like walking all at once together, like crossing each other. Times like it's everywhere, like layers and layers of people on the sidewalk alone, just walking. So they're all just imagine they're right around you, and they all dress nice. Some dress bummy. Like, it doesn't matter. They'll dress whatever they need to do to get to their job or whatever. And that's crazy, too. Like, the whole idea that no matter what you work at, like, you all just commute in the same way. Like,
Yeah.
there's not one person that... Like, money in there doesn't necessarily equal, like, easier transportation.
Well, you need more money there. You know, like, everything's just excessive. It's all excessive in New York, which is why it's crazy that it's still a thing when you think about it. Like, these big monstrous cities that are kind of unnatural.
Yeah.
You know, to humans in general. Like, it's to have a city, an island, New York City, Manhattan, a fucking island with that many people, that much shit. Like, think about the logistics of everything. The food that's being consumed and thrown away, the vehicles that are being used, the commerce that is taking place, buying and selling of whatever, the workforce that moves there because they know of how successful and all this shit that can happen in New York City, the opportunity and all that stuff. It's wild. It's like a Vegas, right? It's like a Vegas, Los Angeles. Now it's Austin, Texas, you know.
What's Austin, Texas?
Well, even Austin, Texas. I don't know if that's technically a real big, maybe Dallas Dallas is like a real. I'm thinking like big metropolitan, crowded area. Just your common big city, Chicago.
Yeah.
Big fucking cities that are filled to the brim with people. People want to go there for whatever reason, and then you have pockets of the country that nobody fucking lives in.
So weird.
Like I've been to Indiana, and there's fucking land forever because nobody wants to move there. You know,
No homes, just empty.
one home, fucking 3 miles down the road, another home, 3 miles behind it, another home.
Jeez.
It's just big, monstrous pieces of land.
And no street lights.
No, like,
Must not be.
there's no urban anything. Nothing's.
Yeah.
It's something you've probably not really experienced. Like I was telling you the other day, you've never seen so much of the sky in a place like that.
Right.
It's wild.
Oh, that's the Indiana was the flat part.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. And I mean, how would kids and everything? How would people go to school and all that? They just the bus would have to.
It's just longer. Everything's longer. Like I remember
Goodness.
when Caroline and I went to Thanksgiving in Indiana, and I remember the dad wanted to go visit his mom, or we were gonna go visit grandma at the nursing home.
Yeah.
And Caroline was going, and then she's like, "You want to come? It'll be quick. It's right down the road." It was like 40 minutes one way, and then 40 minutes back.
Jeez.
Quick isn't quick on the East Coast where we're from. Not even from just Rhode Island. I mean, the states are small. Even if you're from New York, quick is quick. Quick is something different. Mm-hmm. Like out there, they just have a different, or even in the South, they just have different ways about themselves.
And that's how they treated it. As we're gonna make a quick.
Yeah, it was like this will be quick, and it was like 40 minutes to go, and then they went to go see her. I waited in the car, and then 40 minutes back.
So how do they handle? Like life must be slower for them.
Definitely.
Because what we think to do that, we put music on for 10 minutes. You just think it's something that's going to be quick, but they must deal with having to keep their mind occupied for those 40 minutes to 40 minutes from.
Yeah.
And everywhere else, that's a drive. Like, how do you just listen to music 5 times longer than we do until they get there, or do they think about?
They're just so used to driving.
Like,
When they came here, they would drive here from Indiana to fucking Rhode Island.
Because it must have felt like nothing. They'd drive all the time.
The dad would always drive to Tennessee, or her dad would always drive to Tennessee for fishing tournaments. Like, just fucking, he's like, fuck it, I just drive.
Yeah, might as well.
I'm like, where I'm from, people don't want to leave. Like, people are like, an hour to Boston.
Maybe I think that's why people don't want to leave.
Yeah, because everything's easy, everything's close.
Yeah, of course. I mean, going anywhere else, it's too much of a hassle. It'd be too much of a hassle.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's like in the Midwest. It's all these big, flat states that have like one major city, one or two, and the rest is just suburbs or fucking flat land with, a farmland or some shit like that.
That's incredible. Yeah. I've wanted to see stuff like that, though. I've never seen it, and
it's all good.
So interesting to me.
People are like, why are you going there? What are you going to go do there? Have you been there? No? Okay. I want to go see it. I haven't been there before.
Yeah, right? Wouldn't you want to? Just for sheer, discovery and
curiosity.
Seeing something new, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I want to go to Montana. Bad.
You never been?
I've never been. Like, I've been wanting...
What's in Montana for you?
It's just a different... Again, something I've never seen. Living somewhere where there's fucking mountains just around you all the time. We don't really get mountains where we are. I mean, we can travel a little bit and see mountains. We can go to Vermont and Western Mass and see mountains. Even in Connecticut, there's mountains. But they're not like...
Really?
Montana mountains. Mountains in Montana are fucking... And just being in that type of wildlife, there's some raw fucking untouched nature in Montana. That's what interests me. Like seeing something that hasn't really been fucked up by humans.
Yeah.
Which is rare to find. It's becoming rarer. Just checking on that.
I'd like to see what it looks like to see vast amounts of land that's been untouched by a person, because even the parks and all that, or you're going to a wild section of nature somewhere in the States here, I feel like it's somehow been touched by people. I mean, maybe not the what do you call it? Even the national there's national parks. I feel like that's they've trimmed the leaves, they've cut the grass, they've kept it nice and neat.
Right.
For a national park, it has been altered in some way for it to look pleasing. But I want to see the real nature, nature that no one has even entered into.
Where the natives used to run.
That's damn,
dope.
yeah, right. Even in the movies, like I just saw Prey. I don't know if you.
I haven't. No.
No. Do you know what it's about?
Yeah, it's about it's the Predator movies.
Okay.
And they have to fight the Comanche. Oh, I gotta ask you one thing. Just try not to fuck with the wiring because it makes noise. Yeah, it's all right.
Thank you.
It's okay.
So,
and try not to bump the mic either. I saw you bumping it on your chin before.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, things I'm not used to.
Yeah, I know this thing sucks.
So no.
Prey.
So Prey, I saw the movie and it was good. It had to do with it took time back in Native Americans.
Yeah.
And there was a tribe there. I don't know where exactly they were, but they were settled in somewhere in the country. And it was just interesting to me because even though they ran amongst like in the woods and stuff like that, it probably didn't look like that because it was untouched.
Right.
Versus whatever you see there was probably like cleaned up or something, made it to look better for the movie so that it's doesn't become too crowded or maybe eye pleasing or something. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe it wasn't. But that's why I want to also go to more national parks. I really would like to go to all national parks before I die.
Well, there's definitely parts of national parks that are untouched.
Yeah.
Like, there's
That's
definitely
what I thought too.
parts that look, they still look pretty fucking good. It's more like you're looking at a big mountain and behind you there's a fucking soda machine. Or behind you there's a campground or some shit.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. It's cool. We all need to make a buck. But it's kind of unnerving.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like when I hiked Mount Washington, me and my buddy, we did it. It was fucking brutal, long. The whole time we're looking around. It's fucking gorgeous, crazy nature, crazy mountains, crazy view, and not one time throughout that whole thing was I reminded, or was I being sold anything. There wasn't any time throughout that where I was even thinking about the outside world. Like about how we're always getting marketed to and how there's infinite amount of places for you to spend money and infinite amount of places for you to make money. And that's all you care about and whatever, yada, yada, yada. And I wasn't even thinking about it at all. And then when we get to the top, there's a big fucking monument to the peak of Mount Washington in the form of a big building where you can eat and you can get souvenirs and you can fucking... They had a whole experience that you can pay money for. Get the snow chill experience or some stupid bullshit. And it's like... I was like, damn. Even at the top of this fucking mountain, they had to put some shit.
At the highest mountain in New Hampshire.
New England.
Wow.
Yeah.
See? So that's taller than Mount Katahdin?
Yes.
Okay.
Katahdin is like 52 or 5,300 feet. Mm-hmm. And Mount Washington is like almost 7,000 feet.
Oh, wow.
It's like 6'8" something. 6'8", 8'4", or some shit.
How long did it take you to ascend?
That's a good question. I don't even remember. It was a long day. I mean, probably, if I had to guess, 4 hours to go up. Maybe longer, 5.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
And then down, it takes even longer. Because, because you got to watch how you're going down. If the shit is like this, going up, you can kind of, it's different, I guess. But going down, think about if you're running down a hill, it's easy to just let yourself just run because you're going downhill. Yeah. But you can't do that on a fucking uneven mountain, you know?
Of course.
Because when you get... Oh, yeah.
Topple, start rolling down.
Oh God, fuck that.
Yeah, I know.
You're dead on some of those hikes. Mount Washington,
Really?
if you start fucking running and rolling, there's some parts you're dead.
Even in like the trail.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, the beginning of it is all. The majority of the beginning of it is uphill. Obviously, it's all uphill, but it's like pretty steep. But the ground isn't. There's no flat ground ever on the whole trail. There's no just straight dirt path.
What about when? Oh, really?
It's like the easiest part is rocks, just rocks sticking out of the ground. You know, and if you step wrong on that, you fucking twist an ankle. You can roll down that and theoretically live. It's not like you're falling off the side of something.
Right. That's what I thought you were going to mention.
But later on, there's parts where you're like, if I fuck up, like if you were to roll and go off the side, you're dead. You're fucking, you're dead as a motherfucker. This is a cliff,
What
basically.
the hell?
Yeah, it's sketchy. You got to be in fucking. And me and my buddy did it. Danilo's been on the show a bunch of times. We did it just on a whim. I was talking to him about hiking, and he's like, yeah, let's go do Mount Washington. I have Tuesday off.
The most casual way to invite someone.
Yeah.
Yeah. On a random Tuesday.
Yeah. I saw that you started doing some hikes.
I did. I've only done one this year. Surprisingly. I love hiking, man.
Oh, it's so fun.
I would go at least once a month if I could. So, I had climbed about 2 weeks ago now. I climbed Mount Garfield. It's in somewhere in New Hampshire, a little up north. It's like 3.5 hours from. I think it's actually farther from my house. It took me longer to get to that place than it took me to get here to Maine. So, that's to give you an idea. But I don't even know how if Maine's like on top of New Hampshire. But anyways, it was good. We only elevated like 2,000 feet, 2,500 feet. So when you say 7,000, 7,000 or whatever, I would love to do something like that. Like.
So the peak was 2,500 feet, is what you're saying?
No, it was like 4,000, but we were already at 2,000.
At 2, okay, yeah.
And something like that.
Okay.
I have to look at. I mean, I tracked it actually.
Yeah.
So I like to track my workouts, just to let me know.
Do you use all trails?
No,
for the hike?
I used I should. Well, it wouldn't even work.
All trails, really?
Yeah, the map wouldn't. I mean, obviously you're in the nowhere. You know where that can use Wi-Fi, but going back down was 4.95 miles, and going up was 5.22. So 5 miles, pretty much to and from.
Okay.
And the elevation was 4,472 feet. So
That's the peak.
4,500 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I did Mount Mansfield, and I think that was a little over 4,000 feet.
Nice.
But it was we took a trail called Hellbrook, and it was fucking nuts. Like, it was the way you can tell that something is steep and is tough is if there's a massive elevation gain in like a short amount of miles. You know, like the very beginning of this trail was like a mile, but it was like some ridiculous, like 1,000 feet elevation gain or some shit at the beginning. So that's fucking, you're going like this.
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard, obviously. It's super hard. And that one was tough, dude. That was arguably that might have been tougher than Mount Washington.
Wow.
Going up.
Isn't that crazy?
Going down, there hasn't been anything worse than Mount Washington that I've done yet.
That's so interesting. Hard going up isn't easier going down?
No. A hard going up is even harder going down.
Okay.
But I was saying that comparing Mount Mansfield to Mount Washington, it was easier going up Mount Washington, but it was harder going down Mount Washington than Mount Mansfield.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah. When I went, I didn't really have a problem. I actually broke my first bone descending Mount Monadnock, which is the mountain that John just climbed.
Yeah, I saw that.
bare feet.
Oh, he
Wasn't
always
like
does
last
it
week.
bare feet, I think.
I
That's
want
what
to
he
do
told
that.
me.
I want to do that bare feet. No,
Yeah.
I want to try it.
I feel like it would be good because with shoes, sometimes you hit something and an ankle rolls real quick.
Yeah,
You know? And barefoot, your foot kind of wraps to whatever you're grabbing inadvertently, you know?
Yeah, no, it grips into the ground a little better.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it's like the feet. I mean, the shoes. Like, it's however the traction reacts to meeting the like whatever surface.
Yeah, right.
Versus like your foot might like not trip on it as bad.
Yeah,
as
yeah.
maybe with like rubber shoes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And your foot's a little more malleable. Like it'll
Yeah. Right.
You know,
it contours better to
it's
like,
softer. Like if you have a shoe, there's no give. It's like whoosh, and you fucking it sucks. That's the worst.
Have you ever done a bare feet?
No, I haven't. When John took us to Jamestown, what was that? Beavertail. When we went to Beavertail,
Okay.
I think I might have done it barefoot with him.
Yeah.
Me, him, and Caroline went. But, yeah, I mean, I would think it'd be a good idea. That's why they made those bullshit shoes. Remember those shoes that are supposed to look like feet?
The one with the
toes?
like gloves. For
Yeah.
feet. Yeah.
It's like, why get those? You already have a foot. You want to just kind of cover it.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't want to. I don't care about being bare feet. As long as there's no glass.
oh, right,
So
right.
I wouldn't trust to go, like on the streets. I would trust to go barefoot on a mountain.
Yeah.
But and if I get cut, screw it. It'll heal, get stronger. I wanted to get conditioned to.
Or you walk in dirt and it gets fucking infected and you lose it. That's the other option.
That's my fear.
But it's funny because those are the biggest mountains that we have, more or less. I mean, the Appalachian Trail goes through here, but the White Mountains in New Hampshire are big, the Green Mountains. And those mountains are fucking small compared to the mountains in the West. We were talking about Montana and...
I could only imagine.
Like,
That's what I wonder. I want to see how it looks like, how much bigger it is.
I got to see the highest peak in, like, Montana. I think it's got to be over 10,000 feet.
Pictures don't do that thing justice. Like, you can't talk about it from the internet, from watching it on the internet. You have to see it in person.
Granite Peak, 12,807. Like, goddamn.
Almost twice as much as Mount Washington.
You got to camp. You have to bring
damn.
You have to bring a bigger pack. What are you going to do the whole thing and come back down in the same day?
Yeah, that's true.
That's
You're gonna
probably-
have to I wonder if anybody has done that.
That's what
maybe,
people do.
Maybe someone talks about it like that. Like, hey, that does sound crazy. Maybe I can do it.
Yeah, but like do it in one day, go up and go down.
Yeah.
Did you watch 14 Peaks?
Yeah, I loved it.
Crazy,
I loved
right?
it. I followed Nims after that.
That guy
Nims Parja.
murdered the record.
Yeah.
Like the record before was like 20 years. He did it in like 7 months, right? Isn't that what it was?
13 Peaks in what'd you say?
14 Peaks. I think it was in...
He had like 7 months.
I think it was 7 months, dude. God damn.
Woo-hoo! I almost want to bring
Mean
those
Thunder.
shades up. I wanna
Mean
see.
Thunder.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. And you know what the thing is? I really hope someone in the next 200 years they would break that record.
Yeah.
That's the hope. That's why records are tracked that way, so that someone could try to become better than that.
That's going to be a hard one.
Someone set the standard, and someone can say, "Can we beat that?" I think so.
He hit all the peaks that go, I think it's above 8,000 meters. All the peaks in the world that go above that.
Well, the 13 highest peaks.
Well, he did, yeah.
13?
Right. And I think
okay.
I think like 8 of them or 5 of them hit above 8,000 meters, which is the danger zone or the death zone or some shit.
Oh,
Because they lost a guy, I think.
I know. Dude.
Yeah, they lost a guy on that.
I was watching that like.
And think that. You're doing pretty much a feat, like an insane feat, but you're kind of doing it for no reason. Like you're doing it just to see if you can do it.
Yeah.
and then a guy gets killed and you keep doing it, that's wild.
Oh yeah.
You know, like it's not. You didn't keep doing it because of a paycheck, or you didn't keep doing it because of because you knew it might go on Netflix. That dude was doing it. He's like, I don't give a fuck if that guy died. I didn't die, so you guys are coming with me.
Continue.
Yeah, that's wild, dude.
Yeah, I think you would almost. I feel compelled to have to finish.
Right.
Because if someone died, I'm like,
We gotta finish.
now they feel like if we stop, then I feel like they did it for nothing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
His death was in vain.
Right.
Sort of thing.
I'd be like, fuck this. That guy died. I'm going home. If I'm in that
Put
crew.
it back down.
If I'm in that crew.
Yeah. I'm also impressed that helicopters can get up that high
Yeah.
and help them like that.
And they had to go back down the peaks, dude.
What do you mean?
Didn't they have to go back down? Or did the helicopters pick them up and bring them down? I thought they had to go back down.
Yeah, they have to go back down.
Yeah.
Also, the helicopters couldn't go to exactly where the peak was.
He's from
So you have to.
Nepal. That's where the Himalayas are. Those people are
Yeah.
bred for mountains.
Yeah, right. Those are probably the best breed of people for mountain climbing.
Yeah, I mean they already live in high elevation zones, so they know
Yeah.
how to exist. They know how to exercise there.
Uh-huh.
They're small, they're compact, so they don't need a ton of calories,
Yeah.
which you burn through when you're going up a fucking mountain.
And you would think that you need to be this strong person with packed on muscle,
Yeah.
but that's really what the ideal person would need to look like,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Because you also got to think that he's small and he's bringing all this shit with him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you got to be strong, but you don't want to be too big because now you're 230 pounds, but you're bringing a pack with another 110 pounds with you.
I don't know how you did that. I don't know how they all did that.
Yeah.
And actually, they weren't confident in the beginning.
Oh, God.
And
What the fuck would be?
Yeah, they were like, we won't be able to do this. And then he gave all of them, like, courage. And I think that's why he kind of wanted to make the movie.
Yeah.
Like, if he can do that, and only imagine what the movie would do once we finish.
Right.
I mean, that motivated me. I think, like, after that, I went, like, mountain climbing. So, like, woo, let's go.
Yeah, we love that. Like, just people in general. We love seeing somebody do something absolutely outrageous.
Yeah.
Like, holy fuck, that guy did that?
I think back to how you were talking in the 60s, I think that's why we needed someone in the moon. Because I think if we would have just sent a computer there, no one would have cared. But the fact that we sent people, it's like, oh my gosh, look at what we can do.
We
Look
beat
at
the
where
Russians.
We can go.
We beat the Russians.
Yes. There's a lot of interesting stuff you were telling me about the 60s. And what I forgot to mention was that I did do a little studying when I was at Rick because we had to write a 5-page paper. Oh, I think it was like 7-page paper.
Yep.
An essay on
Keep going, you're good.
one character from the counterculture.
Yep.
And I picked a... what was his name? I forgot his name. But he was a Christian... I forgot what the reference is.
From the counterculture?
Yeah, evangelist. Evangelist.
Yeah.
But he was like pretty much what happened was the way they made music in the 60s highly influenced how they made contemporary Christian music.
Okay.
Yeah, because before that they were like hymns and country songs, and then they were like, well, we can make the music that sounds just like the music they make today. And back then when I was going to church a lot, I wanted to pick something that was like related to my faith and all that.
Right.
So I chose that character. I made it look like a Facebook profile. I still have the essay that I did. And that's how I got to learn a lot through the 60s and the hippie movement.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a wild time.
The
counterculture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a wild time. From what we see, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there, but from all the shit that happened in that time, you know, I mean, with The people opposing the Vietnam War so much that they would protest. The people opposing the civil rights fucking injustices that were happening at the time, so much so to protest and demonstrate. And that's just the good stuff. Like, those are good things for humans that they were able to get together. Think about the crazy shit that was happening in, like, L.A. in the 60s. There were so many serial killers.
Yeah.
Serial killers and cults. They were all in the 60s. People were just impressionable fucking... I don't know what it was. We're impressionable today, too, by the way. I mean, it might be more impressionable today now than they were. But,
Yeah.
you know, probably, because we get shown so much shit all the time,
Yeah, that's true.
you know?
Yeah, there's an expectation for how young people should behave with social media. It's all been said before. But one of the most impressionable things that people used to do in the 60s was hitch a ride.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Right.
oh, yeah, it's like this trusting person that can give me a ride to 30 miles north
Right.
of somewhere. And now no one really does it. Like, I know that it was much more common back in the day, but
It was just a different time.
yeah. So I thought we had learned by, like, oh, don't trust a stranger and stuff. And we still do in social media. People that we don't know, we follow and we try to do what they do.
Right.
You know, I thought my job was going to call me because my coworker was like, "Where are you?" This is the track for what I... For what I
Oh,
did.
nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Scarface Brook.
That's what it was called?
No, it was another trail called... I don't know what this trail was called. I'm covering it up. The thing is covering it up. But it was fun. Actually, with that trail, we went up around like 5.
Okay. Which is
Right?
always fun.
Why? Why do you
Because,
say?
like, you get to start, like, I don't know, you get to start early. Yeah.
No, sorry. What I meant to say was, we got up there at 6:19
Okay.
at 6:00,
Yeah.
and we didn't go down until 7:30.
At night.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's
Yeah.
not good.
No.
Oof, I thought you meant 5 a.m.
Yeah, no. So there was a good hour where it was just complete darkness.
Oof.
And
That's terrible.
all we had to use for lighting was our phone cameras, which were well charged because, you know, every time you go into a hike, even though you think that it's only going to be like 5 hours total, I always have everything charged and then an external charger or whatever, because, like, you got to expect that you might get lost, because I have gotten lost. Did I ever tell you in high school?
No.
It was actually Mama Nagnak.
Yeah.
Mama Nagnak has caused me a lot of grief. Actually, with Mama Nagnak, I broke my first bone, which was my pinky,
Yep.
my
Metacarpal.
metacarpal bone.
When you were a kid?
When I was 2011, so I was, let's see, what's that math?
That's 11 years ago.
11 years ago, so I was 17,
Okay.
16 years old.
Yeah.
And I was running down because I wanted to be the first one down.
Oh, no.
And then I grabbed a tree by the sides like this, really quick,
Yep.
instead of like that. I grabbed it like that, and my two fingers went to the side that way, and then just pushed it. It happened so fast. And I went, ooh, ow, that makes me feel uncomfortable. And I just started running down. I kept running in the same speed throughout the whole thing. Like, I didn't really feel anything.
Right.
And I went to get a hand x-ray done, and she's like, oh, that's just going to have to heal on its own. I was like, cool.
Nice.
So it's broken. It was broken this whole time, but it doesn't feel broken.
It's fine now.
And then, yeah, the calcium built up around it, and now it's super strong. You can feel a nice hard bump.
Wow.
Yeah. Now it's actually stronger and better.
Imagine that was the only way.
What?
Like, if you broke your arm, you just had to wait.
Would you do it?
Well, I'm saying before we found out a way to fix it,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
medically.
Ugh, before surgery.
God, dude, you just had to keep it there and hope that it, if you broke your shit and it was fucking. How did they do it with compound fractures? Like, what did they do back in the day? They just sawed the rest of the bone off.
Oh, probably. Probably.
Like, his bone's sticking out. Chop his arm off. People were dumb as fuck. They didn't know what to do.
Yeah, right.
God.
And to think that they thought
they were doing
they
the
were
right thing.
Smart. Yeah, like they were well advanced.
Bite on this rag while I chop your leg off because you have a head cold.
Yeah, drink this alcohol. I'll make you calm down as we do this.
Your nose is sniffling.
Bite into this rag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pin him down.
Oh, my God. People bitch and complain, but you can't deny that we live in the best fucking time.
Yeah.
You know?
It'll only get better. I'm just hoping that we won't depend on, like, medicine so much. On, like, medications.
Right.
That people will, like, be healthy in their own way.
Oh, you'd hope.
Mm-hmm.
I think
that's always my hope.
Technology is just going to overtake everything.
In what way?
Every way. Most prominently, biologically probably. Once they can start figuring out how to, get rid of, like I was talking about CRISPR the other day, the gene editing tool that they use on embryos.
What's it called?
CRISPR. And they, they haven't done it on humans. Maybe they have in other countries, and maybe they have here too. But there's no, they protect it here to make sure it doesn't get out. But
yeah,
it's basically they're able to edit genes in whatever. So they probably now do it on bacteria, and they do it on little single-celled organisms. Maybe they do it on plants. Which is a big step if you're going from a fucking amoeba to a plant. But eventually, if they say, hey, your kid has the gene for fucking, your kid's going to be a dumbass. We know that for sure. He has a gene to be a fucking idiot. Do you want to get rid of that?
I have that gene.
Yeah. Like, do you want your kid to be fucking, you want him to be a genius? Okay.
Yeah.
Send in these things. They'll be good. Or when they have a way to help people live longer, age less, like there's good things that can come from that, right? Like the horrible, horrible disease that everyone's scared of when you get old is Alzheimer's. Nobody wants to have fucking Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
So if they said, hey, you're getting older, you got some early onset fucking signs of Alzheimer's. We have this procedure. All we got to do is go in. We put this in there. We take this out. Good to go. You get to have your memory for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. People are going to start taking that, and then it's just going to keep going and keep going. Like, think about before you could have an amputee and give them a limb. Mm-hmm. People were probably like, "What? That guy's got a metal leg?"
Yeah.
Before that, it was just pirates. They just had a hook.
Yeah.
They were the first ones, and you can't do anything with that. So,
I still don't know to this day why pirates
or peg legs. They had peg legs.
Yeah, but I don't get why hooks. Is that just a Peter Pan thing?
I don't know. I don't know the history on that.
No one has ever, not unless you want to scratch like the surface of the wood on the wall
and scare
to make
everyone.
A scene.
Yeah. Oh no, Captain Blackbeard is here.
Oh no,
matey.
I thought he died. I thought he went overseas.
I thought he went to Davy Jones' locker. That's where they all go, right?
Yeah.
Pirates. That's what they believe in.
The fact that they had lockers, I'm like,
Davy Jones.
Why do I think it's a locker with like a little code?
Yeah, and Davy Jones is just like, get in there, throws you in there with all the other pirates.
It's
pirate
not that
souls.
bad in here.
Or the Flying Dutchman, right? It's so weird how there's all this pirate culture shit. Like, you never really think about it.
No.
But it's like a subculture, pirates.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of untapped potential, kind of like Greek mythology. Like you can play a lot around with a lot of the like make up stories and things about the sea. I just think that the sea is so scary.
Oh, it can
But we
be.
don't
It can be.
we don't make a lot of movies on it.
Yeah. I mean, there was that movie, The Lighthouse. You ever watch that movie?
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Oh, my God. That's a freaky movie, too.
The Lighthouse with Willem Dafoe?
Yeah, and
I forgot his name.
Edward Pattinson.
Edward Pattinson.
And they were stuck there.
Yeah.
That's a fucking freaky movie.
Yeah, it is. It's so weird.
And they were stuck because no one could get them. They were just out because the water was just terrible. And nobody could get them fucking off the island where the lighthouse was.
Right. I thought they were working there.
They were.
Yeah.
But remember when Willem Dafoe says, "Never kill a gull, me boy." Seagull. And
That's what he did.
Edward Pattinson he got upset at something because he was fucking isolated and lonely.
Yeah.
There was a dead gull in the water. Like the water well. There was a dead seagull, or there was a dead something. It was full of shit. It was disgusting. And there was one just sitting there while he was looking in, and he grabbed it, fucking murdered it.
Yeah.
Smashed it to death and threw it. And then from there, it was like they were stuck. They were stuck in the... They couldn't get anyone to get them. It was just a mean storm for the whole time.
Yeah. And then The Mermaid, that was...
Weird, dude. Such a weird movie.
Uh-huh. And the ending, too.
Yeah, he's just sitting there getting his innards eaten. He's like...
Oh, I forgot that part.
Yeah, there's just fucking seagulls eating him while he's still alive.
Oh.
That's fucking terrible, dude.
Does he get out?
No, I think they both die. I think Edward kills Willem.
Yeah.
I think. I could be wrong, or vice versa. One of them kills the other one, and the other one dies anyway.
Oh.
Yeah, there's no happy ending on that.
Damn.
One. Yeah.
Damn, I haven't watched that movie in a while.
Yeah, it's a fucking weird one.
Yeah. But what was the point of that one?
We were talking about how scary the sea is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they were in a house. Like,
Yeah. Forget being on fucking stuck on land or stuck in the water.
I've heard stories. I am so intrigued with people who get stuck in the sea. Like there was one story where a family, a woman, a man, they were married and they had a kid. And so the person who I think babysat the kid, she had a boyfriend who had a boat, and or like the dad of the kid had a boat. I don't know. And then the guy took care of the boat, like he cleaned it or whatever. I don't remember. But one night they were all sleeping, and the kid woke up, and his parents. He couldn't see his parents. He's like, where's mom and dad? Or I think he saw like one person was dead or something.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, what happened? And then the guy, the boyfriend of the girl, he was like, get back inside to the room, whatever. And then the guy, once she got out again, the girl, she saw that everyone was gone. He was like, where are they? They were like, he died. The guy was telling him the little girl, that she had died. Everyone died. They fell overboard.
Oof.
And I tried to help them, but they all died. That's the story. And, or I forgot specifically. I'll show you afterwards.
That's a real story?
Yeah.
No, yeah.
And then
That shit's crazy.
he had like a life raft or like a little boat. I don't know what the hell it was. But he was found eventually. Like he took whatever the best. He took like a life raft and took it somewhere, and they found him eventually. And he told the police that no one made it, everyone died, the ship went down, I'm the only one, and even people found it suspicious the way he was telling the story. But he was the only one that survived, so that's the only story they could be told. And then like 17 days go by or something like that, or something shorter than that, because you can't spend that much time drinking water. So I don't know who it was. I think it was a ship that was sailing by, and they saw the little girl. She had like very little space to like sit down. She couldn't even lay down, or she would fall into the water when she wanted to sleep, because it was such small space where she was hanging on. And they found her, and they when they asked her like, what happened, like what's going on, we found the other guy. He's the only one that made it out. He's like, he killed my whole family. He killed everybody in that ship. And the story was that he murdered her because he wanted life insurance money from her.
Yeah, it was like a scam.
Yeah, and then I guess the dad saw it, and then the father of the boat saw it, and then he was like, I have to
He just
kill you
snapped
now.
and killed everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, being stranded at sea, I don't know if it gets any
Imagine that.
scarier than that on a fucking little raft.
Yeah.
I mean, what direction do you even go in? Even if you had a raft and an oar,
Yeah.
where do you, just start
Yeah,
paddling?
Dude, that's the thing.
Yeah. You
Everything
don't have
gets
any sense of
stripped from
direction.
you. Yeah. Everything you know gets stripped from you. Your phone, your sense of direction,
Yeah.
the land that you're used to. I'm used to going on land. At least I can follow something that reminds me of where I should go, or
Right.
oh, there's a street. I know even if you were in a different country somewhere, you'd be able to find your way eventually.
Yeah.
You can go to a gas station or go to a city and then ask where you're at, and
Right.
eventually make your way back home. It might take like a week or 2 weeks, but when you're in the water, it's like
Which
you're
way do you
already
go?
thinking, I am gonna die here.
I mean, the water, the fucking... Imagine being stuck in the desert or being stuck in the woods. Like, you don't know which direction to go, where civilization is. I mean, like you said, if you're in a city, at least you got people you could talk to. If you're in a town you don't know, at least you can kind of interact with people.
Yeah.
You know, at least there's fucking people around. But if you're in a completely new environment, even if you're somewhere where people don't speak the language, you know, you might be fucked if you don't have a phone where you can translate. But
Yeah.
even still, you can figure it out. You
Yeah,
know,
like,
you would
I don't-
definitely figure it out.
I don't feel like with that. I don't feel like I don't think, oh, I'm dead. I'm gonna die.
Yeah. Well, you hope the people guiding you aren't guiding you to fucking murder you.
Yeah, that's a whole nother issue.
Like if you're stuck in Thailand, and the guy's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can help you, and they fucking send you to a brothel or something, and now you're a
Shove you into
sex slave.
prison.
What if you're
Oh,
Brittany
God.
Griner in fucking Russia?
For $3 a day?
Yeah.
I'm the cheapest prostitute.
They knock all your teeth out.
Oh God.
They do that. To those.
What?
Yeah. Not all of them, but it's... Yeah.
Is it for?
It's for blowjobs, yeah. Did you listen to Yeonami Park when she was on Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
She had some fucked up shit to say.
Is that
in
the girl from South Korea?
North Korea. Yeah. The
North
bad
Korea.
one, North Korea.
Oh, yeah.
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 And she escaped and shit, but she talks about that.
Oh God.
She's
I
like,
cried.
they'll knock people's teeth out. They'll knock the sex slaves' teeth out, so they fucking give that sloppy toppy.
That clean one. Dude. I mean, she went to China, and the Chinese people there were still trying to take advantage of her.
Yeah, they did. They
Yeah,
did
they
do
did.
that. Yeah.
I don't remember the story too cleanly.
Me either. I would butcher it, but
Or,
I remember
what they did. They sold her. No.
Yeah, her and her
Sold for
mom
sex.
were like prostitutes.
Yeah. There you go.
But that was their way to China, and then they tried to leave China, and they got to like Mongolia, and they were just going across the Goji Desert,
Mongolia.
and that's where a truck came and picked them up,
Yeah.
and they were bringing them to the next destination. It was just a truck. I don't know what kind of truck, maybe the authorities or whatever. And they kept telling them that they were bringing them back to China. They're like, we're going to bring you back to China. And they're fucking, oh, no. And then they get to wherever they are, and it's not China. And they start laughing with each other. Ha, ha, ha. Like they were fucking with these two, with the mom and her. She's like, "There's our lives. They're making jokes." Yeah, she's a Russian girl now. Like, you can't do an Asian accent. The Asian accent is like racist, right?
Yeah.
You could do almost all the other ones.
I could just try to imitate what the girl sounded like from the podcast.
Yeah, but I mean, even still, a little Asian girl, you can't say that.
I haven't been anywhere. Yeah, I haven't spent enough time with Asian people to feel comfortable.
Oh Lord.
And then she ended up in
She ended up going to South Korea.
South Korea.
And then she was good to go there. And then she ended up in America. I mean, she went to school somewhere, right? She went to some
In South
university
Korea?
or something. No, maybe both.
but I know she came to America for
Okay, yeah, I'm sure.
for school. She talked about how she liked reading and shit. Yeah, and then there's also some people who say she's bullshitting. So, who knows?
Really?
Do you know anybody that's ever done anything with a little Asian prostitute?
Not a yeah, actually.
Yeah, there's a
They've
place.
gone to a country. They've actually gone to that
okay.
country.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
There's a place
Weirdly
in
enough.
where we're from that you can go. I don't want to out it because I don't want to ruin anyone's time, but
Really?
there's a place in Providence
In Providence, who would have thought?
that you can get rubbed down and get a little extra afterwards.
Holy smokes.
A rub and tug. And I got friends who do it all the time. Well, not all the time, but I got friends who've done it.
How much more expensive is that?
I don't know. It's probably cheaper than getting pussy the honorable way. If we're being honest. Right? Like, if...
True.
Unless you get lucky one night, which is good, right? You maybe had to buy her a couple drinks or...
The chances of that, though?
You know.
After how many tries?
But if you're going to wine and dine and really go through the process with a girl...
I mean, you're also saving
know.
your time, which is valuable.
Save your time, too, yeah. I mean, I've heard, it costs less than $200 at this particular place.
Wow.
And, like, you think about that, that's one dinner. If you're really trying to, really go for it with this woman. Or it could just be a date night in general. Dinner and then a movie
And
and
then she might
a
not
club.
put out.
Exactly.
At the end of the day. So you're never guaranteed.
This is like a
At least
guaranteed.
here, it's like, right.
It's like treasury bonds.
Treasury bonds.
It's like guaranteed money.
What are treasury bonds?
They're bonds that are given out by the government. So what a bond is, we're completely switched. We went from prostitutes to fucking financial
That's how these
services.
things go. And with my attention, we're going places. It's just.
So a bond is...
I think it's also because we didn't really start with like a specific.
No, we've just been going.
Didn't have a specific questions that we were trying to nail down,
No.
which is great.
God, no. Fuck that.
Which you have that way. I feel like you have a lot more options if you wanted to edit something.
Yeah,
You have more segments
you could.
in the
Yeah. Definitely.
I guess I don't know. You were saying bonds, gold bonds.
Bonds.
I mean,
yes, treasury
James.
bonds. James Bonds. No, a bond is a financial tool. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Doesn't matter. A security. There you go. That's the word. A financial security, which is just another word for it's like a stock or a bond or a mutual fund or any of that shit. But the way a bond works is it's basically a company or a government or usually company or government are the two best examples. They are basically asking for money. So you're giving them a loan of your money and for the price of the bond. Say the bond is $1,000. So you're giving that company $1,000 and in turn, a year from now or 2 years from now, whatever the bond terms say, you get a certain percentage back. You get your $1,000 plus 10% or some shit in so many years.
So you're loaning your money out?
Essentially, yeah. But what's safe about it is that whatever rate you lock into, it doesn't fluctuate. Like if you lock into a rate, you get a bond at 7%, and in those 2 years, that same bond, the level changes. Now it's 5%. You still have the 7%. You know, like if I bought a bond in January at 7%, but in March it's at 5%, doesn't change. For me. For you, if you bought it in March, you're buying it at 5%, and in the future from there, if it goes up or down, it doesn't matter because it's fixed. That's where the word fixed income comes from. So those are safe because of that, and then it's even safer when you go with a country or a strong corporation. And a country like the United States has never defaulted on their bonds. Never defaulted meaning they couldn't pay out.
Wow.
They've never done it in the history of the country. Mainly because we're able to bend rules. It's our game, so we get to bend the rules.
So true.
So, they were close to it. They were close to it last year, I think it was, to defaulting. The closest they've ever been.
And is that what do you default to who?
To everybody that loaned the money to the company or the country.
And if they default, that means they won't be able to pay you.
They don't pay you, yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
So there's bonds, like junk bonds,
Yeah.
that are for like shitty companies, and they need financing, they need money. So the way they entice you to buy it isn't based on the company. Like if someone said buy a Microsoft bond or buy a Coca-Cola bond or an Apple bond, you'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It's a big monstrous corporation. You know, but the interest rate is going to be lower than a shit company that's trying to get you to buy their bonds based on the interest rate they're offering. So you could make the bet that, Raf's Camera Services, it's a starting out company. You just issued bonds to everybody. You would probably want to give people a higher percentage so that they take the bet. You know, they're going to take the bet that in 3 months, when you plan on paying everybody back, you'll be able to pay everybody their principal plus the interest.
Right.
But you're taking a risk because Raf's Camera Services is brand new and nobody knows about it, and you might not make that money and you might default. And then you get a bad credit fucking analysis, and it's just a disaster from there. So
The United States have never gone through that.
they've never defaulted. They've never defaulted, but because of how solid they are, the rates you get are kind of shitty. They're pretty low. You get like 1%, which is okay if you put in, if you buy $100,000 of,
Holy smokes.
bonds, and in a year you get 10 grand back or some shit.
Oh, damn.
That's not even 1%. 1% of that would be $1,000. So, right?
Of
100,000. Well, 1,000, 1% is 10. 10,000, it'd be 100. 100,000 would be $1,000. Yeah, so it's really nothing. But people do it to hedge their bets. It gives your investment portfolio a floor. Like, at least I make 1% because these bonds, if it's all stock and the stock goes fucking, under 1% of your whole, if your whole portfolio goes under 1%, when you don't have bonds there to kind of cushion it, then you'll take the brunt of the loss. It's a fucked up world. It's a bunch of gambling. That's all it is.
Yeah, a lot of...
There's safe gambles, but there's a lot of ways to gamble, for real, in the stock market.
What do you mean gamble?
Like there's, it's just like if you bought into a company that just you think, for whatever reason, is going to pop off, that's basically a gamble, is it not? It's just like me betting on Cheeto Vera, hoping he fucking wins. It's like, it's the same thing. I bet on, Bob's Toiletries. They should pop off for whatever reason. They just got a big contract with a fucking Home Depot or something. So you think it's going to, and then you buy and you hope it goes up, but it might not,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, too much stuff involved with money. I
Or-
wish we weren't so. There's
Right.
there'd be a lot of nicer people, I think.
Yeah, I mean, money just
Or better
fucks
decisions
everything up.
be made. Because there's no like money involved in it.
Yeah.
So,
Anytime we equate value to anything or commodify anything or make it so that everybody is trying to get, money and fame, they're kind of hand in hand. Like power, if there was no money, it would just be people fighting over power or fighting over who's most famous,
Yeah, I wonder about that. If there was no money and fame, would people want to become famous or?
Maybe not. Everybody likes being well known, I think.
Yeah.
Not always, but if you're in a community, you like people to... Some people who've been in communities for a long time. The person I'm imagining in my mind is like the old guy that comes into fucking, some bar that everyone's like, oh shit, he's back. Here's Jim. Everyone loves him. Like people would want that. for themselves. I think people want that. Not everybody. Some people just want to be fucking, left alone.
It brings me to this question to ask you: is with your visions for comedy, right, and where you want to take it. So how is it that you're able to separate yourself from the other local people, like what I just saw yesterday, and the people that will be with tomorrow? How do you set yourself apart from those guys? It feels like there aren't many comedians before I started doing this and before I started going to shows, but then now I'm realizing that if you're showing up to a place where there's like 10 other comedians and there's a pool of comedians every time you do one of these shows, it's like, how then do you separate yourself to where you can get to where you want to go? Which is, I don't know where it is, but...
You do it longer than everyone else. You do it longer and you do it more often, which sounds stupid, but it's true. Think about how many people that could have been good at something if they just kept doing it. People who are infinitely more talented than some of the other people that just stuck it out. People we would never even know of. Think about how many Khabibs there are, or Khabibs there could have been. Like guys that they had 2 pro fights and they had real potential in the gym and everybody was like, wow, look at this guy. And then just for whatever reason they stop. They lose the vision or whatever. I find like it's just all about patience. Like if you look at it with a certain time horizon, a lot of people say, oh, I need this by 30. If I don't have a home by this age, I'm fucked. I fucked everything up in this life. If I don't get this type of paycheck, but you do that, you're kind of limiting yourself. Like we kind of put a lot of complications and a lot of parameters around living. A lot of undue burden.
Yeah, I agree.
On just living, right? Like, It's not enough that we're born into some crazy place where everybody's doing things that seem normal because it's all we know. But when you really break it down to its bare bones, it's a bunch of us walking around, a bunch of animals, essentially. A bunch of carbon-based life forms, like everything else that's on the planet.
Right.
Who've created their own idea of the wild. And it's just as ruthless as real Mother Nature. Because people look at Mother Nature and they see a bear eating a wounded deer or a wounded animal. Yeah. They're like, oh my God, that is so brutal. Isn't it brutal that there's single mothers who can't pay for their kids' fucking medication? Or that's brutal too, right? Is that not? And we were supposed to have gotten past all of that shit.
Supposedly.
We were supposed to have enlightened ourselves and gotten past to whatever. And I forgot why I even went down that hole, because you asked me a question about comedy.
Oh, dude, don't ask me.
Yeah, I know. It just comes and goes. But, what was I saying? Oh, a lot of undue pressure on living.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're these things that are walking around and we get in these other we call them vehicles with wheels, and there's metal, and we all just trust each other to drive on these roads, and we all trust each other to do our jobs. Like, if people just stop doing their jobs, we're fucked. Like, it's just a weird circumstance. And then there's all these things that we can do while we're alive, and then it all ends in just closing the lights out. The most absurd of it all is you die, right? You were here, and now you're just gone. And it's like before you were here. So that's already a jarring experience, a jarring situation to have to deal with. Now you got to add in the fact that you need to find some level of success doing some particular thing in some particular amount of time. That to me is wild. It's so much extra pressure. I mean, I get it. I get it.
You get it?
Yeah, like success is, everybody wants that shit. Not saying I don't want it. But to really, stamp it, it's weird. And they try to get us to do it at such a young age,
Oh, yeah. Like, it's almost, built that way. Like, who is... They're always, thinking about who is the next batch of kids who are going to create the world that you're about to see, with with movies and fashion. Those kids who you grew up watching in Disney Channel are the ones that are going to grow up and maybe direct a little bit of what you end up liking in life. I don't know. Like who you end up watching in TV later on.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know where I was heading with that, but
Well, no, I mean,
it's always like a machine. Like it's just,
they're looking for the next thing.
Yeah. It's a thing. It's very marketable.
Yeah.
So they like that.
Yeah, well, we're worried about progress and we're worried about production all the time as humans. Keep producing, make the next thing, usher us into the new level of fucking humanity. Steve Jobs with the phone, fucking Nikola Tesla with electricity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we revere these people. The people who do the game-changing shit that switches everything. Everyone's like, wow, that guy progressed us forward as a fucking, that's the shit we look at and we're like, damn, that's as impressive as anything,
Does that overweight, like, the good over the bad is sometimes what I find myself asking, like, is the way we advance the better way to have gone, or was this something like, this is what became of everything that we did? Sometimes I think, like, oh, what about the people that, like you said, that didn't put the effort in, that what could have become?
Yeah.
Like, I wonder what our blue pill option was if we went this route.
Right.
What would we have become? But I know that we do pay for. Like, I want to think that we are doing it for the better of humanity, but I know there are going to be things we're going to pay for. I mean, I do like the idea of phones. I think that's why we can't go without it, because it's so helpful.
Yeah. Well,
There's so many things we could do on it.
That's the thing. We're always looking for
Maybe too much.
the new way to enhance our way that we interface with everything. Like, just when you think of the simplest pieces of technology, like how did people move things before wheelbarrows? You just picked them up and carried them? That was made because it was a fucking problem that people had.
Yeah.
They're like, we got to do this in how many trips? Let me just stick this wheel on here.
Yeah.
Can
we create something that'll make this easier on
Yeah.
our lives as a whole? Then open up time to do other stuff?
Yeah. And then you create a marketplace because other people have that problem. They're like, yeah, I'm trying to build something and I need a fucking wheelbarrow too. And that's where it gets hazy. Like, imagine if we could... But you need that to get it out to so many people. If you're going to mass produce shit, you need money behind it.
Oh, yeah, of course. I wonder, would we have created so much stuff like this if we, didn't have an expiration date? Because I think a lot of the stuff that we do make is to cut time, which time is so valuable. So it's like we only have so much of it. So we're trying to create things that'll make us easier to be able to do more of the things that we enjoy. Because we're running on so much limited time.
Yeah, it's all borrowed.
Yeah.
Borrowed time.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a quote somewhere, I say it all the time. There's no such thing as time, just clocks. Imagine if we didn't have clocks, we wouldn't understand the concept of time. It'd be day and night.
No. Every day I still get confused. With clocks, I get confused about what time of day. I mean, unless you look at the sun, eventually you get an idea.
Right.
But there are times when it's like you wake up and it's like, oh God, is it late?
Yeah.
And then you realize, oh no, you didn't sleep that long.
Right.
Like.
Yeah, I mean, clocks and calendars and fucking days of the week, the idea of a week. Like, I'd like to find the origins of that. Like, the beginning of when there was a structured way to view time. Like, when was it based on seasons? Were seasons kind of the first thing that people noticed? Was it based on... Did it gain prominence when there were workplaces? Like, you need people to work for so long, and
yeah,
like, I wonder what it was. I feel like it probably had to do with farming or something, or agriculture,
Could, yeah.
you know?
With the timing of that, yeah.
Like you figure out it rains from this time to this time. We'll call this spring. And then it's real hot from this time to this time. We'll call it summer. Like, we might have called it something else. Or there might have been more maybe there were more seasons at one point in time. I don't know.
I do remember being happier before when I wasn't as aware of time as much. Well, when my parents just told me it was time to do something or whatever, that's how I knew. Like,
Right.
I wasn't really paying attention with time, and I was less stressed because of it. Because now I think, I have to make sure I do this, and I stress it in my mind. I have to make sure I do this before 4 o'clock or whatever. And then that ends up stressing you out. And then you do that over months and years.
Yeah.
And then it like slowly deteriorates your mind. So
sure.
in the future, I'd like to live less on. I told people this in a general sense. I don't like time. I don't like.
It's another undue burden on living.
It's so unfortunate for me. Yeah. Sometimes I wish I could just have it real basic, where you just wake up in a land that it's sheltered, and then you do whatever you feel like doing at that time. I don't know. What do I want to do? There's no like, you have to do this. We're all going to gather together for this meeting on Zoom. It's just like, hey, you guys want to go over there and check that out? It's like something like real, like bare bone, just
Simple,
like-
simple. No constructs to live within.
Yeah, nothing added on to it. And I think we would live kind of like how other countries don't really have as much as we do. And I think they live happier because they don't have to worry. Like, their mind isn't boggled down with stuff that
They're not as
they had an
stressed.
added burden to their life.
Right.
I think that's what we've done.
Yeah, I mean, I always go to the example of Europe, which is, of course, a well-established fucking place. All those countries are well-established.
Have you been?
Yes. Yeah. I've been to the Azores, which is technically Europe, but I get it. It's not in the continent. But I've been to Italy, and I've been to Switzerland.
Cool.
Obviously, very nice places. But what you'll find there is that people take it incredibly easy. They just take it easy. They're not... The average work day in a place like Italy is... I mean, if they feel like it in the middle of the day, they'll just close up. Fuck it. We're going home. Middle of the day. A bar, a fucking store. Not like a big supermarket. That's different. But, like, if you go into a town, like we're here, if you're in Old Orchard Beach in Italy, you might go, oh, that bar was open. I saw that they were open till 10 tonight. Let's go take a look. And they'll say, no, closed, motherfucker. We went home. Or people will leave in the middle of the day, go home, hang out with their kids, or take a nap, or relax, and then go back to work for another 2 hours, close the fucking place up. That's just how they operate there. They have way less stress. And what's interesting is that cigarettes, very prominent in Europe. Everybody smokes cigarettes all the time, all day, and they are they don't die any earlier than anywhere else. Like here, everyone's always like, Jesus, you smoke cigarettes, it's so fucking bad for you. And it's probably not good for you. But I think here there's a lot more shit that affects why we're unhealthy. Like obviously the stress, right? Americans go 1,000 miles an hour because we're focused on production all day, every day. Work weeks are insane. People want overtime. People want money because that's, one of the highest praises you can get in our country. If you're famous or you have a lot of money or you have a lot of power in some capacity. The 3 biggest cities in our country are based on those things.
For sure.
New York for money and Wall Street, LA for fame, and DC for power. So if you have those things here, that's why everyone's, I got to get a house, and I got to get another house, and So people work like motherfuckers here. But they also eat really poison food, right? The food that we eat is illegal in a lot of other countries. We eat a lot of bullshit. We take a lot of pills that the doctor says is what we're supposed to take. Some of it good, some of it for no reason. And then people blame cigarettes? It's weird because there's other countries where they smoke way more cigarettes, or in Arab countries where they smoke hookahs day in and day out. And they're chilling. They live longer than us. Why? It might not be the cigarettes, people. It might be something else.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow, maybe cigarettes only exacerbates.
Just makes things worse, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because over there
I'm
they
gonna
don't
do some research on that now.
they don't care. They don't. And I was you know, in that point I was just making, I forgot about or it reminded me of a study that I had recently learned about that I've talked about on here a bunch of times already, but I want to tell you about it. It was a theory. It was a study on the chemical imbalance theory, meaning there was a theory that came out in 1960 that has been widely accepted. You've probably heard about it. Mental health issues come from a chemical imbalance. Like if you're depressed, your dopamine is low, and the one that makes you sad is high. The chemicals in your brain. And the overall respected theory on depression has been that since it came out in 1960, which is kind of wild that nobody's kind of done more research since then until now, where in Europe, they did a big study, real big study. I think I could pull it up because I can read it to you. It was a big study with thousands of subjects, thousands of cases that were willing to take part in it, as well as, let me see, I'll just read it to you. Last week, this was July 25th when I read this. Last week, a major study across several European universities and hospitals examined data from hundreds of thousands of people. It concluded, there is no convincing evidence that depression is associated with or caused by lower serotonin concentrations or activity. And then it goes into, let me see. However, more recently, the hypothesis has been superseded by a focus on the interaction effect between this polymorphism, depression, and stress, with the idea that the short version of polymorphism may only give rise to depression in the presence of stressful life events. So it's basically these guys are saying that it's not a chemical imbalance. It's people get depressed when they're faced with a stressful situation, which is it makes sense. It's not that there's an imbalance in your brain, but that's what we've been told because soon after, in the 80s, they started marketing antidepressants, to which now on this, through this study, they're finding that it does nothing more than it's a strong placebo. So 13% of Americans are on antidepressants, and it could be the wrong medication. It either numbs you completely, or it makes you numb to every emotion, or it's a fucking placebo effect, like a big placebo.
Right. So, how do then people become depressed over lots of stress over a long time?
Well, it said. There's a train. It said.
There it is. Finally.
Stressful life event. The presence of stressful life events. So I mean, that's a little vague, but it's also kind of all you need, right? Like, how many people have you heard? A family member dies, or they lose somebody, and it was someone real close to them, and they're not the same afterwards. Now they're completely different.
Yeah.
That was one event. For some people, it's multiple stressful events. You just got fired, your rent went up, you fucking, a bunch of things in a row. You found out that your mother doesn't love you. Like, it could be a series of fucking things.
Wow.
So it's just interesting. And now that's good information for people who are in the camp of psychedelics being used to treat mental health issues, which, as of current, has been prominent. So hopefully they can get the right medicine to people.
So there are people that are in these stages of taking
Psychedelics. Yeah.
to help with their depression in small doses.
Yes.
And it's been working.
Yeah. Yeah. Another recent study came out with psilocybin.
How is that different than taking How is that different than taking like an antidepressant? Isn't it changing the chemical?
Well, it's definitely doing something to your brain, right? But it's definitely not a placebo. Like when you take a hallucinogen, unless someone told you it was a hallucinogen and it actually wasn't, and it's an actual placebo. But if you're taking an actual hallucinogen, there's something happening. Like it's real, and you feel it. You actually feel it. The other thing is that it's not numbing. You ever see people that take Prozac or whatever and they don't feel anything?
Yeah.
That's not good either. I mean, you're not supposed to not feel anything. So, with those drugs, with psychedelics and hallucinogens, I think what it's doing, I mean, I don't know the literature, I haven't read enough on it, but I'd have to assume it's just changing the way people view certain situations.
Wow.
Maybe it's lightening the load of these stressful situations that cause depression. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a more chemical thing, a biological thing,
Yeah.
Who knows? But hopefully it's a lot more fun than the bullshit that the government fucking feeds to us.
What? Taking the psychedelic stuff?
Yeah. Fuck that, dude. FDA approved. That just means we can sell it to you. Now we can sell it to you. America and New Zealand are the only countries that advertise drugs on television.
Yep. That part I did know, but I didn't know it was New Zealand. It's actually illegal in other countries to make commercials of prescription drugs.
Yep.
That's crazy. But I wonder why.
Because it's it shouldn't be a product. Like medicine shouldn't be, hey, like Chris Rock had a classic bit on that. He's like, they don't ever tell you nothing on the commercial about what it does. They just show you a man on a horse or a lady in the tub, and they start naming things. They just keep naming things. Like, eventually you're going to say yes. Are you hot? Are you sad? Does this hurt? Is your fucking, do you need this? Are you cold? Can you not sleep? Are you upset? We're going to find something to sell to you. Mm-hmm. And it's like medicine, you would hope, is the only place where you would see it is in a fucking hospital or in a pharmacy.
Yeah.
Or, over-the-counter shit. You don't...
When you really need it.
You'd hope you're not getting sold on medication. Like, you need to be sold medication? What the fuck is that? That's just the FDA and the machine knowing that they can sell you on shit. Like, they stopped cigarette commercials in 1971. They made those illegal in 1971.
Yeah.
Because information got out and a study got out that shit causes cancer. And after that, they were like, oh, we can't, I have a whole bit on the FDA and how stupid they are and how they pick and choose on, what's bad and what's... Like, they're trying to ban menthol cigarettes, and they ban Juuls.
Yeah.
And the reason why they're doing that is because this is the FDA now. It's because those products could influence children to experiment. So they're worried about children. They don't want children to smoke cigarettes. They don't want children to smoke Juuls. But what are, Oreos marketed to? What about when... Oh, the battery's going to die soon. No. We're going to have to wrap this thing up.
How long have you been doing it for?
Almost 2 hours. Almost 2 hours.
Beautiful.
But let me finish this thought before we get out of here.
It's a good thought.
What about when they get a brand new Mountain Dew or a Doritos that they pair with a Call of Duty game?
This is awful where it's going.
Who's that marketed to? Children.
Kids, yeah.
So they just pick and choose. And the puff bars are still around. How come those aren't fucking illegal?
Puff bars?
Those things that are like, you hit them and they smell like fucking cotton candy and shit. They're like the electronics cigarettes that everybody buys.
I have to see it.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Who gives a fuck? We got to wrap this. I would hate for the battery to die on this thing anyway.
That was a good story, though.
We have.
This is exactly what we talk about when we're driving.
Yeah, the whole time.
It's just
This is just now.
Learning everything.
We got microphones.
Learning lots of new stuff, huh?
I said, now we just got microphones.
Yeah.
Well, this is Friday for us, so we
Yep.
got two. Oh, it died, but it's okay. It's okay. They don't need our video. We can close it out with just the audio.
Guys, close your eyes and just imagine this for a second.
Exactly. We're on Friday. It's rainy out. It's gonna stop soon, hopefully, so we can go out and get hammered and have fun. And then we got the rest of the weekend. Saturday, I got 2 shows. And hopefully at the end of it, we'll have some good content. We haven't done much filming today, but we're gonna.
We will.
I got some ideas for the rest of the day. That's it. You want people to follow you too?
No, thank you.
All right, motherfuckers. Have a great day. Talk to you on Thursday. Peace.
Peace. Hey, I'm back to reiterate all the stuff that I said at the top of the show. Follow and subscribe. Bye-bye.